Hello, welcome to ThePrint. I am Amana Begam Ansari. I am a writer, columnist, and I used to work as a research associate in CFPS. Reservation and social justice have always been deeply emotional issue in India. They are not just policy tools, they are tied to humiliation and the long struggle for dignity. The idea behind reservation was clear: to correct structural injustice, to create space for those systematically pushed to the margins. It was meant as a repair mechanism, not a permanent political currency. Over time, however, what began as a social correction slowly drifted into political negotiations. Quotas began to be announced, expanded, challenged, promised, withdrawn, often very close to the election time. What should have been a carefully designed tool for justice started looking like a bargaining chip to secure votes for political party. This week, headline from Maharashtra brought this issue back into the focus. The government scrapped a 5% reservation for Muslims, which triggered a sharp reaction. The framing immediately turned into, first of all, into religious headlines. If one reads beyond the headlines, the scrap quota was not meant for Muslim as a whole. Uh, it was for socially and educationally backward classes within Muslims, categories that mirror caste based disadvantage. But once the policy is branded simply as a Muslim reservation, nuance doesn't matter anymore and polarization begins. And that is where my discomfort begins. Why should reservation be framed around religion at all, or even be given based on the religious identity? Indian society's inequalities are rooted primarily in a caste hierarchies. And caste does not disappear with religious conversion. Hierarchies exist within Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, every communities. If reservation is meant to address structural backwardness, then it must be tied to measurable social and educational deprivation, not religious identity. The Maharashtra Muslim reservation is not even a fresh development. It goes back to 2014 when the state government introduced quotas both for Marathas and for certain backward section among Muslims in jobs and education. The move was challenged in the court. Eventually, the judiciary struck down both reservation in employment while allowing the 5% Muslim quota to continue in education for socially and educationally backward groups. And yet, whenever the issues resurface, it is the Muslim reservation that becomes the headline. That itself is telling. The opposition framed the scrapping as a proof that the current government is anti-minority, and the ruling side framed the original decision as nothing but appeasement politics. The real conversation about backwardness, data deprivation, and the constitutional limits get buried under this predictable accusation. When Maratha reservation was struck down, the debate remained largely about the legal caps, constitutional limits, and the 50% ceiling. However, when it comes to the Muslim, the framing instantly shifts to identity, minority rights, and vote banks. It becomes emotionally charged, stripped of nuance. The uncomfortable truth is that both sides benefits from this framing. One gets to say, look, minorities are under attack, and the other gets to say, look, appeasement has ended. In this tug of war, social justice becomes secondary for everyone. What really gets asked is a simpler question. Were the beneficiaries identified through the credible social economic data? Were the categories aligned with constitutional principles? Was the policy sustainable within legal limits? Because if reservation is to remain a tool of justice, it must rest on solid ground, not on political messaging. Otherwise, it risks losing both legitimacy and purpose. I believe that if reservation is to remain honest to its original purpose, it must follow the same logic across communities. Among Muslim, Sikh, Christian, just as among Hindus, disadvantage is deeply sharpened by caste-like hierarchy, and Pasmanda Muslims carry historical and social marginalization that mirror caste-based exclusion. That reality cannot be wished away simply because the community identifies as a religious minority. If reservation is about correcting structural injustice, then it should be extended within Muslim and other religious communities on the basis of caste hierarchy and measurable backwardness, not because of identity of religion. Religion by itself is not marker of deprivation. Social location is. At the same time, there are individuals from so-called upper caste section of any community who may be economically weak. For them, mechanism like 10% economically weaker section EWS quota, which was introduced in 2019, already exist. Poverty can and should be addressed, but poverty and historical social exclusion are not identical. They're not same. What worries me how quickly these distinctions get blurred in a public debate. When policies are framed as a Muslim reservation, it feeds a narrative that an entire religious community is being given preferential treatment that is not accurate, and it distorts the purpose of affirmative action. If we truly want social justice, we need clarity. Caste based marginalization should be addressed whether it exists, including within Muslim society. Economical hardship should be addressed through economic criteria. Mixing the two for political convenience only weakens both arguments.